Yali Madad. So we'll start by a question which Kamran Sahib asked about moth. So the first reference he gave us was 3 by 185. Let's read that. So I'll read it in Urdu and one of you can read it in English. So it says, Kullu nafsin zaikatul maut. आखिरकार हर शख्स को मौत का मजा चखना है. So he was talking about how do you taste death. Can you read in English, please? One of you.
Every soul will taste death, and you will only be given your full compensation on the day of resurrection.
So, nafsin means soul. The translation says sometimes shaks. So, it's har ruh ko maut ka maza chakna hai. So, that's the question. How does soul taste death?
Soul never dies.
Soul never dies. Your good question, yeah.
So we all understand the question. He's saying over here, अगर यहाँ होता कि हर शख्स को मौत का मजा चखना है तो बात समझ में आती थी because we die as a human we die. But here it says all the soul must taste the death when soul does not even die. So how do we understand this ayat? अगर यहाँ पर लिखा होता कि हर शख्स को मौत का मज़ा चखना है तो मेरे ख्याल में वो गलत होता क्योंकि when a human die he will not be able to say this was good or bad because he is dying at that moment and he will not be able to remember that anymore. If we are talking about the body only. But here it says the soul will taste the death. And मज़े की बात यह है कि यहाँ पर कहा कि उसका मज़ा चखेगा, meaning this is something good. It's a tasty thing. It's a good thing to taste. The soul will taste a good taste of the death. And the soul will like that part actually. And that is the reference in this ayat.
So I hope we all have corrected the meaning in the Quran. We have to cut the shakhs or person and make it a soul.
Yes. So because just like the question is hard for people to understand how can a soul will taste when soul doesn't die. So उन्होंने translate किया कि हर शख्स को मौत का मजा चखना है. Because that's what they understood, so that's what they translated. Okay, अब आ जाए यहाँ पर. If we think this is the ayat about a physical death, then we are mistaken. This is not about the physical death. This is about the dying before dying. Mutu anta kabla anta mutu. Die before you die. यानी कि आप अपनी इबादत में अपनी नफ्स को मार डालें. ये नफ्स अम्मारा की मौत की बात हो रही है. It's talking about the death of the carnal soul. And when you kill your own carnal soul, and what is carnal soul? I want this, I want that. When you kill that want, that is the death that you are testing. Here number one है. The number one thing that a soul can test, the death of the carnal soul, the lower soul, the one that is saying that I want this and I wish that. It's always riding on you instead of you are telling your soul what to do. This carnal soul is telling you what to do. And with the knowledge and with the ibadat, with the remembrance of Allah, when you kill the soul, then that part is really, really tasty. Meaning, you feel good about it. You feel good about it. यहाँ पर एक और बात छुपी हुई है, वो ये है कि you don't, even though we say you kill your carnal soul, you really don't kill your carnal soul. Transform that soul into higher soul. वो है नफ्से लवामा.
नफ्से लवामा, नफ्से मुतमईना.
Satisfied is mutmaina, right?
Ji. So there are three levels of soul. First is nafse ammara, which is I want this and I want that, instant gratification. When you take knowledge classes, you raise your ranks, then your soul becomes conscious. Nafse lavama, a guiding nafs. And after that, you get to the nafse mutmainna, the satisfied soul which you are talking about.
Thank you. So, we take our carnal soul, and when we take the soul out, but we don't kill it, we transform it into the steps and get to the nafse mutmainna. And you are satisfied, and then you are satisfied with that. And that is the most Allah is talking about in this particular ayat. Now, also, may this not be the final interpretation of it. It is actually not talking about any one of those regular mu'min, but here it's talking about those mu'minin, or shall we call them arifin. What does it mean, arifin? One who has the marifat, the understanding, the greater understanding. Because you cannot be understanding the death unless you have that marifat, unless you have that understanding. और जब तक उसकी वो understanding नहीं होती है, how can he taste the death? Even if death comes by, he will not understand and will not be able to have a satisfaction from it unless you are an arif, meaning one with understanding, one who has a marifat. Otherwise, you will not be able to do that. And how does that happen? So, a mu'min who has elevated himself by walking on Sirat al-Mustaqim, following Imam's Farman, and taking the Ismi Azam, and with that Ismi Azam, he transforms his soul, the lower soul, into the higher soul. And as he comes close to the Imam on this journey, and when this Ismi Azam becomes complete, a small Qiyamah, resurrection, comes on him. Or he brings a small resurrection, Qiyamah, on himself. And when he goes through that Qiyamah, the period of death, and I'm saying it period of death, not just a moment. It's a period of death. When he is going through that period of death, in that period, he is testing the maut. और उस मौत का वो मजा चख रहा है. So what is going on at this moment or on this period? He is going through the multiple deaths. बहुत सारी मौत से गुजरता है वो. क्योंकि अगर एक मर्तबा, if he goes through the death, he will not even know the test of that death unless he tests it again and again and again and again. यहाँ पर जो वर्ड था कि उसका मजा चखता है, meaning something he is doing it again and again. मीनिंग वो इमाम के फरमान के मुताबिक अपनी रूह को एक मरतबा बाहर निकाल कर देखता है. He goes through that part of death one time. You think he does that one time only, or does he do it again and again? वो बार बार अपनी रूह को बाहर निकाल कर देखता है. Meaning, he dies again and again and again. By doing that, what is he doing? He's testing that death. It is said that this resurrection takes 7 days and 8 nights,
Wow.
180 hours of death and life. Can you imagine how many times this Arif is dying? That's 180 hours. If he dies every minute, how many minutes that would be? If he dies every second, how many seconds that would be? That's how many times he dies and become alive. Because to die again, he needs to become alive. But he becomes alive in stages. Meaning, if he was on this level of life, next time when he becomes alive, he's on this level. And then on this level. And he keeps going up and up. And every time he goes to the next level, he dies again. So one can ask, why does he need to die so many times? And here is the answer to your question. Because he needs to test every single kind of death. What do you mean every single kind of death? Death in a sleep, death in a sickness, death by accident, death by suicide, death by bullet, death by knife. Any kind of death you can think of, death of a child, death of an older man, easy death, hard death, all kind of death. दुनिया में जितनी भी किस्म की मौत है, जितनी भी किस्म की मौत है, all kind of death, उसका वो मजा चखता है. Meaning, उसका वो experience करता है.
You mean physical? ये physical death सब.
Okay. Think of all the physical death. Because he said it. Think of all the physical death. All kind of physical death. But remember, he is going through resurrection in ibadat, in his own alam al-shakhsi, within himself. By doing what? Putting his soul out. Putting his soul out. He's dying again and again and again and again and again. Only way you can die if you leave this body. If your soul is in this body, you're not dead. So what are you doing? You're pulling your soul out again and again. But each time you're taking your soul out, you are experiencing different death. Iसीलिए the word that was used was arif, one with the understanding, one with the marifat. Because without the understanding, and I will give a couple of more examples. Let's say we are those people who don't understand anything. And Allah says, I take your soul when you sleep. Meaning, we do die every night. Every time we sleep, we die. How many times do we remember or have understanding of that? None. Do you remember when you died last time? Or the last night? No, we don't remember that. Meaning, we are dying without the marifat, without the understanding. But I'm talking about that moment. That's why I say we are not talking about normal people here. We are talking about that arif who goes through this death. And he dies with the marifat, with the understanding, with his Ismi Azam. Because Ismi Azam is the one who can take your soul out of your body, and Ismi Azam is the one who can bring the soul back into your body. यहाँ पर we are not talking about regular people. क्योंकि अगर हम अपनी soul को बाहर निकाल लेते हैं, and if we are not strong enough to bring it back, we will die physically. But if you are strong in your ibadat, strong in your Ismi Azam, and with that understanding, the higher understanding, so this Arif is going through all these different kind of deaths. So after 180 hours of this death, and she may have reference of that. So let's go and give the 3 references of the nafs first, and then reference of the 180 hours.
So the nafs amara is 22 by 53. Nafs lawama 75 by 2. Amara is 22 by 53. Lawama 75 by 2. Mutmainna 89 by 27.
English में.
Carnal soul 12 by 53. Guiding soul 75 by 2. Satisfied soul is 89 by 27.
You should also point out the satisfied soul, that's mutmainna. The other reference of satisfaction is the verse that says, indeed in the zikr of Allah, hearts find satisfaction. It's the same word, that the satisfaction.
Right.
And reference for that is 13 by 28. Illa bi zikrillahi tatma'in al-qulub.
And inshallah in some other class we will talk about nafs mutmainna.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, because there's a whole subject by itself. So what is the other meaning hidden in 180 hours? So all of us who drive, we understand what is 180 degree turn. What is 180 degree turn? It's a U-turn. It's a U-turn. 360 is a complete circle. 180 is a U-turn, half circle. So this Arif, or this Bandai Momin, who becomes Arif, at the end of that 180 hours of resurrection, he becomes Arif Kamil, the one who has the complete marifat, because now he has a complete knowledge of all the lives and all the death. So he goes from, he came down halfway and he just completed his entire journey. He made a U-turn and made an entire journey back to one with Imam himself. And because Imam is Fakulle Shaheen, this Arif, by becoming one with him, he has the knowledge and the understanding, the marifat of all things, including life and death. So what is hidden in this one? How many kinds of life are there? As many deaths are there. जितनी मौत है इतनी ही जिंदगी है, और इसको हर किस्म की मौत का मजा चखाया जाता है. And otherwise we cannot say he is the Arif Kamil. यानी कि अगर हम कहते हैं कि इमाम knows everything, meaning Imam has the knowledge and the understanding of all the lives and all the deaths. And when does that happen? When Imam goes through this resurrection. And all those nominees who follows on the path, on the footstep of the Imam, and before they become one with the Imam. Remember, we are not talking about the journey, we are talking about the final destination, where this Mu'min is Arif Kamil. Otherwise, Arif Kamil title is of the Imam himself. He is the one who is Arif Kamil. And that Mu'min who goes through this resurrection and become one with the Imam, meaning becomes Arif Kamil. In our history, you will find those Mu'minins. An example, Pir Nasr Khusro, he was an Arif Kamil. Pir Sadruddin, he was Arif Kamil. And so many like them. So many like them. So in every time and age, even today, we would have a Arif Kamil who has witnessed, who has seen, who has understood all this death and all this life, who has gone through the resurrection. So he may become witness to Imam's Wakul Shahin. That he can say with the certainty that Imam is Wakul Shahin. He has encompassed everything. Otherwise, मैं और आप कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि इमाम में हर चीज़ मौजूद है? Yeah, maybe we can say it with a certainty of knowledge, but he is the one who has witnessed that by becoming one in the Imam. Then he can say कि मैंने हर किस्म की मौत का मज़ा चखा है. And remember, he did not die physically, nor does he need to die physically. But he does take out his soul for a moment to die physically. But then he brings it back. And they all go through this maut and maza. So let's look at some of the other references that we had of this maut and.
So first I want to give the references of 7 days and 8 nights. It's 69 by 7. And then another reference related to Kulle Nafsin Zaikatul Maut. It is Surah 29 verse 57. हर नफ्स को मौत का मज़ा चखना है, फिर तुम सब हमारी तरफ ही पलटा कर लाए जाओगे. 29 by 57.
Every soul will taste death, then to us you will be returned.
Are we talking about U-turn here? You all be returned. But here the key was all of you. So you can say, but you just said we are talking about one person. Just there one moment. But here it says all of you. So which one is right? The first one or the second one? Think about it for a second. You think that when that moment who's going through the Qiyamah and going through the resurrection, is he going alone? Or is he taking all of our soul with him? जब क़यामत आएगी तो हम सब मर जाने वाले हैं कि खाली एक आदमी मर जाने वाला है? Everybody will die. Knowingly or unknowingly? Knowingly or unknowingly, we all are in him. One in all in one. So when this moment goes to the resurrection, he does not go alone. He takes all of our soul. And when I say all of our soul, meaning all 7.5 billion people living on this earth today. So if this maut happened, let's say 60 years ago, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever the population at that time was, he had taken all these souls. At the time of Pir Sadruddin, he had taken all the souls. At the time of Pir Nasr Khusro, all of the souls that were present at that time. He takes all of them, knowingly or unknowingly. Some soul may know, and some soul may not know. Because in Qiyamah, one soul takes all the soul. He does not go alone himself.
Becomes the boat of salvation.
Boat of salvation.
So, in that regard, in every time period, is there only that one soul who can take everyone, or can there be
multiple
souls who have that ability to die and take?
Subhanallah. So let's look at some of the number quickly. Let's say in time of Adam there was only one. Adam himself. He went through the resurrection. There was only one. But then in the Quran it says there are 8 who carries the nur of Allah. So from 1 it became 8. Then in Sultan Masha time it says there are 313 mu'minins. So from 1 to 8 to 313 who are going through this resurrection. But then comes the time of Qiyamah. So when the time of Qiyamah comes, Allah has to increase this number. If he went from 1 to 8 to 313, then I would say in today's time it will be 700. 7,000 that is going through this resurrection. Why not? His mercy has no limit. If His mercy has no limit, that means the number of the mu'mineen increases with the time. Ji.
So the Quran, the term in the Quran for that question is Hamilane Nur. How many of them will have the Nur to become the boat of salvation? Okay. So the reference for that is 69 by 70.
Carrier of the Nur.
Carrier of the Nur, the carrier of the throne of Nur. There were 8. Hamilane Arsh hai, but Hamilane Nur bhi bol sakte, right? Hamilane Arsh, the one who carry the throne of Allah, meaning that they have the Nur of Allah, become the boat of salvation for all the souls. So the reference.
एक सेकंड यहाँ पर होल्ड करें. अगर हम कहते हैं वो हामिलाने अर्श थे, यानी कि थ्रोन को उठाए हुए थे, तो can you imagine there are 8 angels. They are carrying a throne of Allah. तो अल्लाह तो बोझ बन गया उनके ऊपर कि वो हमेशा अपने सर के ऊपर, अपने शोल्डर के ऊपर उसका अर्श को कैरी करता है, उसके थ्रोन को कैरी करता है. ये तो अल्लाह बोझ बन गया उनके ऊपर. Even though it says हामिलाने अर्श, इनकी मानवी माने, the original meaning, the deeper meaning is हामिलाने नूर. मीनिंग उन्होंने अपने अंदर अल्लाह के नूर को छुपाया हुआ था. अब वो बोझ नहीं है, अब वो इनाम है. Do you see the difference? Sometimes we read the ayat in a physical form and we take the word in a physical form. Then my challenge will be to you, हामिलाने अर्श या हामिलाने नूर. हामिलाने अर्श is the boझ, is a burden. हामिलाने नूर is a inam, a gift for the mu'mineen. इस तरह से हमको आयतों को समझना है. जी.
So just for history, for our knowledge, our learning, that during the time of Prophet Muhammad, he says that there are 4 who are Hamilane Nur, and he gives name. Our dais have given the names. And just for, those who are going to learn and write, there are 4 names of Salman Farsi, we all know. Second is Abu Zar, third is Migdad, and fourth is Ummar. These 4 were told to be carrier of the Nur at that time. And then of course we have Panch and Pak, and then Sultan Barsha gives 313 Momini. So the numbers keep changing depending on the time or the cycle we are living in. He said 700, could be 7,000 to today. So it changes. The boat of salvation, the number changes based on the cycle we are in.
At the time of Prophet Muhammad, Quran was revealing, and Allah said there are 8. And when people ask the Muhammad, who are these 8? He said that 4 are from me, meaning from the Panchtan Park, meaning the Ali, the Fatima, the Hassan and Hussein. But he excluded himself from it. And the 4 are from you. The Salman, the Abu Dhar, the Miqdad and Ammar. So why did he exclude himself out? Because he was the Noor of Allah at the time, and he was saying, my Noor. Muhammad was saying, my Noor is carried by 4 from me and 4 from you. Muhammad brought the Masawat-e-Rahmani to the people. कि इमाम के खानदान से बाहर भी 4 हो सकते हैं. It is possible from within the Imam family, and it is possible from the Jamaat to carry this Noor. और उसने उसको equal किया. Because he himself, he excluded himself because he was the carrier of the Noor of Allah.
The living Noor.
Meaning he was the living Noor. So he was saying, my Noor that I have is carried by 4 from me and 4 from you. When this question was asked of him. Subhanallah.
So in other words, what he's saying, that he was the Arsh at that time, whose Noor was carried by these 8 individuals.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
And the next reference we needed to do relate to the topic we are doing, 2 by 156. और जब कोई मुसीबत पड़े तो कहेंगे कि हम अल्लाह ही की तरफ से हैं और अल्लाह ही की तरफ हमें पलट कर जाना है.
Who say when misfortune strikes them, lo, we are Allah's and lo, unto Him we are returning.
Subhanallah. So यहाँ पर another question arises. Looks like यहाँ पर कहते हैं कि जब मुसीबत आती है तो हम ये कहते हैं कि हम अल्लाह ही के हैं और अल्लाह ही के तरफ हमको लौटना है. ये कौन सी मुसीबत है? क्या ये फिजिकल दुनिया की मुसीबत है कि जब हम ये कहते हैं कि ये मुसीबत भी एक कोड वर्ड है? Which hardship Allah is talking about here? Is there a physical hardship? Or is there hardship of the Qiyamah? So let's, for our understanding, this ayat is saying, when I go through the hardship of the Qiyamah, I am from the Allah and I will return back to Him. Remember the U-turn? If we take this as is, and we say this is the physical hardship, then दुनिया में तो बहुत सारे गरीब लोग हैं, बहुत सारे मुसीबतों में हैं, और बहुत सारे इस्माइली पैसे वाले हैं और मुसीबत में नहीं है. How will we understand this ayat then? Meaning, if they are not in hardship, they will not return back to Allah. And all of those people who are in hardship, they will return back to Allah. And they are saying this. This is ayat for them only. Again, if you take it physically, no. Here, the talk of the hardship is a hardship of the Qiyamah. That, oh Allah, when I go through this hardship of Qiyamah, then I would say, I am from you, meaning I came from you, and this hardship you have put on me, the hardship of the Qiyamah, of the resurrection, this hardship will take me back to you without dying. The problem with the physical sense is that there are more people in hardship than us. Meaning they will get returned back to Allah faster than us. See, that's the problem with the physical hardship.
So
I think the one with the spiritual hardship will get to Allah faster than us. Ji.
So you're not wrong in what you're saying, but the context here is not physical hardship. So in the same context, the last verse which we're supposed to cover in this class is 62/6, which says, बस तुम ही अल्लाह के चहीते हो, अल्लाह के चहीते हो तो मौत की तमन्ना करो. Desire your death. It is only through the death we can get to the secrets of Mawla. The more we are going to transform our carnal soul to the conscious soul, to the satisfied soul, the nearer we are to the secrets of Mawla. In this physical being, in this dense body, with our carnal souls directing us to live our life, we are not worthy of His secrets. Therefore, we need to pray, give me the death, the taste of death. Meaning, we die, killing the carnal soul will take us to the guiding soul, meaning we will get His guidance, and then we'll get to the satisfied soul, meaning we will know the secrets of Iman. How do we all want the secrets, we all want to get there, but there is a path we need to take on. So yes, you are right, this question we should ask, we should want to know, we all are like desperate to know, but it's a huge jump, and it's a path, you just cannot jump and fly, we have to take these stairs and get there. So nafs amara, nafs lawama, nafs mutmaina. How do we get there? By saying this dua, Ya Ali Allah, Ya Mawla, mujhe tu फनायत दे, इश्क दे, मेरे नफ्स को मारने की कुव्वत दे. The more I kill my carnal soul, the more I transform my soul to the higher level with knowledge, with tasbihat, with ibadat, then I will get to your secrets very quickly. Khayal is sharing something.
Well, since you mentioned 2957, which was the other version of this other ayat, that every soul will taste death and to us be returned. But we also know Quran principles that you should always read above and below. So 2957, which says every soul will taste death, if you go right above it, which is 2956, says, "O my servants who believe, my earth is wide, therefore worship me." So the context is first ibadat, because the word is ibadat, worship me. Then right after saying worship me, it says every soul shall taste death. So that death which is here has to be related to the death of in your ibadah. And even the whole word about earth is wide, that has a ta'wil as well too. Meaning, it's not that God is saying my earth, such a big earth planet, but it's more related to your own personal earth, your inner world. It's so wide, there's so much to discover. Worship me and you'll. But then if you go in the next verse after death, after 2957 to 2958, it says, "And those who have believed and done righteous deeds, we will surely assign to them of paradise elevated chambers beneath which rivers flow, wherein they abide eternally. Excellent is the reward of the righteous workers." So we have ibadat, death of the soul, and then elevated to the chambers of paradise. Those 2 verses are like
Subhanallah. See,
so important.
this is the true example of a scholar. Whenever you study verses, you always read above, one above and below. Then you'll get the whole context.